In a room thick with smoke and tradition, Nikola Tesla shared his vision with the passion of someone who had seen what others could not yet imagine. Before a table covered in blueprints and fresh ink, he spoke of invisible fields, of motors that spun without friction, powered by forces still unexplored. Energy, he said firmly, does not need gears or coal. It can move like a dance, without contact, without effort. But in front of him, the faces were walls. Men in dark suits, furrowed brows, minds chained to the familiar. They crossed their arms, and after each of Tesla's words, they responded only with silence or skepticism. One of them, without saying a word, took the boldest sketch from the table, wrinkled it slightly, not with violence, but with disdain, and pushed it aside. It wasn't a shout, nor an accusation. It was worse. It was the sound of genius rejected by the comfort of the world, a seed crushed before it could grow, a motor yet unborn, and already feared. And in Tesla's eyes, as he picked up his idea from the edge of the table, there was no anger, only a silent promise. One day, it will spin.
They don't see it. Not yet. But I do. I've seen it spinning in my mind. Perfect, silent, unstoppable. This paper may be fragile, but the idea inside it is eternal. Let them wrinkle it. Let them dismiss it. One day, this will move the world.
Sometimes, for a spark to become lightning, you must leave behind the sky where it was born. Tesla knew his ideas no longer fit within the same old rooms. Blueprints were no longer enough, nor promises, nor dreams spinning on paper. He had to leave, to seek a place where electricity was not just mystery, but future, where he could build, even if alone. And so, one day, with nothing but a worn coat and a weathered notebook, Nikola Tesla left home, into the unknown. The rain wouldn't stop that night in New York. In a modest room, dimly lit by a street lamp outside, Tesla sat motionless. Before him, a sea of sketches, equations, unfinished dreams. He had left Europe. He had left behind his health, but never his vision. No money, no tools, no allies. Only paper, a pencil, and the silent roar of conviction. And then, in the middle of solitude, it happened. A line, a spiral, an idea drawn with absolute clarity. A motor that needed no brushes. A field that would spin without contact. It wasn't thunder. It was certainty.
It doesn't matter if they don't believe in me. Physics doesn't need witnesses. It only needs to be true.
One sought efficiency, the other elegance. One looked at the light bulb, the other at the lightning. In 1884, Tesla arrived in New York with a letter of recommendation in his pocket. It read, "This man is a genius." And the man it was addressed to was Thomas Edison. Edison ruled the electric world like a modern emperor, conquering with filaments, wires, and contracts. And there, in his smoke-filled office, cluttered with papers and gears, he heard Nikola Tesla for the first time. He hired him, but he didn't yet know. He had just welcomed the man who would one day challenge his throne.
Name?
Nikola Tesla.
The European they mentioned. The one who claims he can improve my generators. You look more like a violinist than an electrician.
I didn't come to compete with your generators. I came to surpass them.
Surpass them? Kids like you walk in every month. Got ideas, Tesla? We're drowning in those. What we need is someone who can make them work.
These aren't ideas, they're solutions. I know why your coils overheat. I know how to stop it. And I know there's a cleaner, more efficient, more elegant way to move current.
Elegant, huh? This ain't a ballroom, kid. Here, we sweat, we fail, and if you're lucky, you don't get electrocuted. But I like your nerve. Go see the foreman. If you fix the dock lamps in under a week, maybe we'll talk elegance again.
There was no slamming door, no shouting, only the echo of footsteps fading, leaving behind the shadows of a wounded genius. After the falling out with Edison, Tesla didn't look back. He gathered his blueprints with trembling hands, like someone picking up a broken dream. But in his silence, there was a promise.
Just another dreamer. One more the world will tear to pieces.
One that needed no witnesses. Because true ideas don't die with rejection. They are planted, and sooner or later, they bloom.
Let them not hear me today. It doesn't matter. Time is patient with ideas born before their time, and mine will spin even if for now they seem still.
And so, beneath the flickering glow of gas lamps, Nikola Tesla wandered aimlessly through the damp veins of New York. The world had ignored him, corrected him, humiliated him. But there was something within him that could not be extinguished. A flame that neither rejection nor doubt could smother. He walked past alleyways and empty shop windows, without money, without work, but with a mind more alight than ever. And in that moment, beneath the rain, he made a silent decision. He would build his motor, alone, even if the world laughed at his madness.
If the idea was born in the storm, then let it grow in the storm. I don't need permission to move forward, just a bit of copper and faith.
After the storm came silence. Tesla had left behind Edison's lights, but also his comforts. Alone, with no resources and a reputation barely intact, he rented a small room in New York. It wasn't a laboratory, just a space with more shadows than furniture. But there was one thing he still possessed. His mind, sharper than ever, more determined than before. On the table, borrowed tools. On the floor, crumpled papers filled with unfinished equations. And in his soul, a flame that neither rain, nor Edison, nor hunger had managed to extinguish. That night, when he lit a candle, he didn't just light the room. He lit the beginning of his rebirth.
I have nothing, and yet I have everything. The idea lives, and I'm still here to build it.
The city slept, but in that forgotten corner, an idea was beginning to awaken. Tesla had no lab, no tools, only a bed, a piece of paper, and an obsession spinning through his mind like a comet. Then it happened. In a mental flash, precise and calm, the alternating current motor appeared in his imagination, not as a sketch, but as a complete vision, functioning, rotating, vibrating with the promise of the future.
I don't need to see it with my eyes. I see it in my mind. I know how it must spin. I know it can work. I just have to build it.
And then it happened. There was no thunder, no applause, no witnesses, only the stillness of the night and the crackle of coal in the fireplace. Nikola set down the pen, lifted his gaze, and there, on the paper before him, something more than a sketch had been born. It was a new heart, the alternating current motor.
This is balance. its rhythm, its life spinning without friction. I no longer see it, I hear it.
In his small room, with empty pockets but a soul on fire, Tesla clung to an idea that seemed impossible. A motor that spun without brushes, without friction, moved only by invisible fields. No one else could see it. But to him, it was already spinning. A dancer without a body, a propeller without wind. And though the world had yet to listen, the motor of alternating current was already beating, silently, on the page.
I don't need to see the metal move to know that it's moving. I only need to understand the rhythm of the forces that drive it.
Sometimes, ideas aren't born to applause, but in the solitude of a room lit only by a flickering candle. That night, all was silence. The city slept, the rain had stopped, and in that room forgotten by the world, something began to turn. It wasn't thunder, it wasn't lightning. It was a spiral of copper, moving without touching anything, driven only by the invisible harmony of an alternating field. The motor turned, slow, steady, precise, and on Tesla's face there was no astonishment, only the calm of someone who at last had seen the truth move. The truth he had spent years sketching in his soul. He needed no witnesses, no applause. It was enough to see it spin.
For years, they told me it was impossible, that a motor couldn't be built without brushes, without spark, without friction. But in my dreams, it spun. In my fevers, it roared. I didn't build it with my hands alone. I built it with every rejection, every night of hunger, every shadow that pushed me to light this candle. Now look, see how it spins. Not with noise, but with truth. Not with fire, but with an invisible field. It spins just like hope spins while the world is still asleep.